Okay, let's go ahead and begin. This is my hospitality disruption talk. Now, Gunny's already seen it, so he's just supporting me by attending again, I'm sure. Risky hasn't seen it. Yvonne hasn't seen it. Putu hasn't seen it. There's a few people who haven't seen it. So, my wife even hasn't seen it. It's funny. I go to Jordan all the time and having shared it with her. All right. So, what are we talking about here? I'm going to be giving us a little walkthrough about the why. So, why do we work at Bukit Vista? Why is this place exciting? Why? And it's related to disruption. Does anybody know what disruption is? Risky, what is disruption?
Disrupt the process.
Yeah, very good. Something that's disrupting the process. Yvonne, what is disruption?
Something that distracting, something that stops something else,
Okay.
something, the other thing.
Okay, something that stops something else. All right. Gunny, what is disruption?
I think this disruption kind of transition by era to new era.
Very good. It's a transition from era to a new era. Very good. Okay. So yes, I would agree with Gunny's assessment on that one. I wrote this for a student audience, so it's a little bit different when I'm actually sharing it in-house. But my objectives here are to define disruption, to share our vision about the future of hospitality, and to inspire you guys to change the world. This win to change the world too. So the key result in this particular case is I hope you actually am able to process this and share it with somebody else. Hopefully you guys like this talk and you think more about what we do here. Okay, so the format, I will define disruption, I will talk about the history of disruption in hospitality and what a disruptive career path looks like, and then I'll ask for your comments and surveys after this workshop. Actually, I don't know if this is a workshop or a lecture. It's probably more like a lecture. Workshop, you actually have to do something. Disruption. So, disruption in the context of what we're talking about is an innovation that creates a new market, and it creates new value networks, and it eventually disrupts an existing network and an existing market. So, what is that? That's all good and well in text, but what does it actually look like? Looks like this. So, who had a BlackBerry here before? Risky, did you ever have BlackBerry?
Yes.
You had a BlackBerry. Everyone had a BlackBerry. I got my wife a BlackBerry as my first gift of love. I gave her a BlackBerry. I was like, yes!
And
That's
you
what
won
you
it by himself.
And I what?
Take it to the beach.
I lost her BlackBerry on the beach?
No, you won it and then bring it down to the beach at the Karma and then the wave was it.
You still remember that? Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so many meaningful moments. Okay, so the BlackBerry was an example of how a disruption, the iPhone disrupted the BlackBerry. So before, people were used to texting using their thumbs on keypads. They were used to looking at monochrome displays, only in black and white. And it really didn't have any smart features besides being able to check your email, maybe look at your calendar. But when the iPhone came out, almost nobody uses BlackBerry anymore. In fact, I don't think BlackBerry even exists as a company anymore. So, what else does disruption look like? It can look like this. Before, people are using bedchocks, now people are using Gojek. What does disruption look like in the hospitality industry, though? And we think it looks something like this. This is the before. People are using travel guides to find their way across Southeast Asia. People are booking trips on little roadside travel agencies. But what does it look like in the future? I'm glad you asked. Let's go back to 1961 and take a look at what disruption has already happened. Now, when we talk about disruption now, it's often hard to understand that disruption might sound like a new process, might sound like something that's really revolutionary. The disruption has always been happening throughout history. There's always been one event that disrupts a previous event. That's fairly normal. So the year is 1961, and I'm bringing you to Toronto, Canada, where the first Four Seasons was built. It looked like that. The first Four Seasons ever built was built by Isidore Sharp. He was a businessman, but he was actually more of a contractor. His parents, his family was in the contracting business, so they built homes, they built buildings for other people. They decided one day they would build a motor lodge. What the hell is the motor lodge? Why didn't they build a resort? Why didn't they build a 5-star, beautiful palace in Nusa Dua. Because at the time, a motor lodge was more interesting. A motor lodge was really simply this. It was a hotel that was car friendly. It was right next to a highway. It was cheap. You could stay in 1 or 2 days, not too much time, and it was in the suburbs. It's not located in the city. It was located on rural areas out in the middle of usually nowhere. So that was, it's also known as a motel. There's not too many motels here, I think, in Indonesia. Maybe somebody should build a motel. Not a motel, maybe like a go-tel. Gojek hotel.
You should have hotels.
It's hostel.
Hotel Mexicola.
Risky.
Risky! Good job! Excellent, excellent. Okay, Motel Mexicola. All right, well, if you're wondering where that's coming from, Mexicola is actually a pretty interesting place. You know where Mexicola is?
Who knows?
Semina.
I think it's on the border between Mexico and California. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but it's one of these places that's like sort of like between two places. Okay, anyway, so why did Four Seasons build a motel? Four Seasons was looking at the disruption of the 1960s, and this was it. Back in the 1960s, cars were very disruptive because all of a sudden people were coming back and they were buying cars, just like the way people buy phones today. Cars came in all sorts of colors, all sorts of designs. You can have your car customized just the way you want it. And these things were being bought by everybody. Everybody needed a car. It was a very, very exciting time. And this was being built. It was a national highway system. So before, when Americans or anybody else wanted to travel, they would take a train to go from one city to the next. Or if they were really wealthy, they would fly. But there was no middle option. You didn't want to get the train, and you didn't want to have... Well, a train was actually very different. A train, there was a hotel in the station where you went, and there was a hotel in the station where you got to. But a car now, you're making a journey along the road. So what if you get tired along the way? What if you need a place to sleep? Then, there's no place. This was the network that was really rocking things up back in 1960, the National Highway System. Okay, why were motels disruptive? Motels were disruptive because they were decentralized, they were available anywhere, they were technology friendly, they took advantage of the new network that was available, which was the highway system, and they gave people a spirit for the adventurous, which was really awesome. This was the Four Seasons. So this is what you saw when you came to Four Seasons in 1960. It would have a carway where you could just drive up and get out. It was built with a huge parking lot, so you could bring your car inside. You didn't have to worry about parking. This became the model for pretty much every other motel that was built. But it wasn't just Four Seasons. It was not just Four Seasons. Everybody else who was smart got into this disruption too as well. Hyatt. This is the very first Hyatt. Hyatt was a motel just outside the Los Angeles airport. So they had places where you could drive up, you could get a room, and you could sleep after a long flight. That was the Hyatt. Marriott began as a restaurant, and when they actually got enough money together, they bought a motel. They bought a motel, and there's the founder of Marriott. He's on the left, Bill Marriott. And he's giving directions to his guests who are visiting him by car. So he's operating a motel too. Here's the question. Now it's 2019. What is the disruption in the hospitality industry going to look like now? So let's go before. Before, people were using cars, driving them on highways. Baby boomers were the target market, target audience. They were looking for something cheap, available, with a sense of adventure. Today, we don't have cars, we got mobile phones. Everyone's got a mobile phone. We don't travel on the highway, we travel on the internet. We don't travel on the highway and the internet. Instead of baby boomers, we're talking about millennials, who are all looking for the same thing too as well. We're looking for something that's cheap, available, and give us a sense of adventure. Boom, boom, boom. That's where we come in. That's what Bukit Vista is about. We are in the home sharing business. We share over 300 unique properties now in 2019, including this new one that Leon and we brought in, bamboo houses. Now, I don't need to explain to you what home sharing is. We're in this business. We do this every day. But to a person who has never seen this, this is about as disruptive to a hotel as a BlackBerry is, or as an iPhone is to a BlackBerry. This is something that's radically new. It comes in far more flavors. It has more ways that you can use it, and it has endless variety. You can stay in a bamboo house. You can stay in a Villa Bahagia. You can bring 10 of your friends. You can stay in a tree house built in a particular way. You bring your friends to a villa in Bingit, you can get properties where there are no hotels at all, like on the cliff sides of Bingit. So the varieties are endless, the locations are endless, and it gives people a lot of options now that they didn't have before with hotels. So, that is home sharing. And why is home sharing disruptive? Instead of the car now, the mobile phone is our access point, it's our technology point. So instead of being car friendly, home sharing is mobile app friendly. Instead of being close to a highway, we're close to the internet. It's cheap, it's 1 in 3 day stays, and it's available anywhere. Here's the question. Canada led the world with, let's say, America led the world, I think, with the whole idea of the hotel boom, right? Motels becoming hotels, becoming resorts. A lot of the big brands that you see in the hospitality industry usually come from the States. The Hyatts, the Marriott, the Four Seasons Canadian. But the question is, will Indonesia lead the hospitality world in the era of disruption? And will Bukit Vista become the next Four Seasons, Hyatt, or Marriott? And that's the basis for which we're hiring people. And this is the message that we're sending out. And this is, why am I giving this here and telling you guys this? Because I realized that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about what our vision is, what we want to become, what is the eventual destination of Bukit Vista. And I realized in order to truly be compelling, in order for this truly to be an innovative place to work, we have to know the why. We have to know what we're going for. And that is the goal we're going for. We're trying to become this. We're trying to become something that is on the scale of Four Seasons in the next 10 years. Are we getting there? Kind of. And this is why I say kind of. Four Seasons has less locations than we do now. We have 300 plus locations. Four Seasons has about 400. I think a little bit less than 400. So we're almost at the same scale in terms of Four Seasons' total amount of locations, which of course will get more. In terms of reviews, we have more reviews in both Four Seasons and Ubud and Jing combined. So we have a bigger review base, and we have a bigger brand base in that case. We don't have, let's say, the history, the heritage, or the luxury of Four Seasons, but I don't think that was something that Four Seasons set out to be in the very beginning. This was Four Seasons in the very beginning. They were not about luxury, they were not about brand, they were just simply about catching on to something that was disruptive and that was going to change the way that hospitality worked. And they caught that, and then they became what they became today. So, I'll settle for a Hyatt or a Marriott too. If we become the next Hyatt, the Marriott in the hospitality industry, that would be still pretty cool. Okay, so that's basically the talk. Thank you guys very much. I'll send out a survey after this to everyone and give me a score, see if this was any good. Or maybe we can just do a vocal score right here. Okay, all right. Let's start with Risky. 1 out of 5, what would you give this talk?
4.5.
4.5. Leon?
4.
Okay.
4.5.
4.5?
4.
4?
4.
4?
That's not fair.
Last bit. If you give it a 5, that means it's super powerful.
5.
Okay, all right. Not really. All right, Gunny.
I give 5.
5. Okay, great. Okay, so that's essentially the essence of our vision for how we're going to disrupt hospitality. If you missed it, please catch us on the video.